Hey, what's going on, people, man? This is your boy, Super Mario, man. You are in the yo with your boy and stuff like that, man. We're going to be talking about reverbs and delays as far as the discussion is concerned. And this is going to be stemming off our 16th challenge out of Beatober and everything like that. We are kind of running behind, so it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Life has its challenges and everything like that. But basically, we're going to be discussing delays and reverbs. Not too much doing a beat on delays and reverbs. I just feel like it's not a need to make a beat to show you what a delay and reverb, because we all know what delays and reverbs do. It makes the sound good, makes it not sound so dry and, you know what I'm saying, not sound so boring. It adds some type of life to the particular sound source. However, reverbs and delays can also be used to create a depth of the sound and kind of push it and position it in a mix, whether it's left and right, frontwards or backwards or whatnot. Reverbs and delays definitely have that creative aspect to those two particular effects in order to get you to understand spacing in your mix or whatnot. So you can use delays to kind of fill in the gaps as far as the echo is concerned, like a hey, and it adds that fill in rhythmically by way of the timing that you choose on the delay, and then the reverb just kind of fills in the open space. So if I was to say, "Hey, boy," and you just see how dry and open, you know, saying closed off it is, "Hey, boy," but then when you have a reverb, it's like, "Hey, boy," and stuff like that. It just fills up that space, or whatnot. And we'll talk about what those two differences is or whatnot, man, for us reverbs and delays and how you can just use them and, you know, how they sound. So we're going to go through quite a few a couple of examples of, not couple, but quite a few examples of different reverbs and delays and talk about what they do and hear some sound samples or whatnot. So just to show you guys what we'll be discussing and going over today is going to be delays and reverbs. Then we'll move on to ambient type of beats and everything like that. And that's kind of like, you know, stuff that's, you know, has that ambient sound that, you know, shoegazing, lo-fi type of sound, very ambient, you know what I'm saying, real chill vibe and everything like that. And then we'll make a beat with 808s and so forth and go so on. We'll X out number 20 and 22. I don't think I'm gonna do something reverb sample. 23 all MIDI. I mean, when you're making beats, most of that stuff is MIDI anyway, so we'll skip over that. We'll do nostalgia, CEFGB, bass heavy, sound waves, use free device, samples audio, and down tempo BPM, and start a collab. So we got a lot of work to do to catch up and whatnot. And if we don't catch up by the end of October or whatnot, we'll definitely turn these into you know what I'm saying, still videos that I'll do, and just to close this sheet out, because when you start something, you need to finish it. So that's what that is right there, man. So just to give you guys a, you know what I'm saying, a view of what we're doing or whatnot, man, and everything like that. So let me go ahead and try to get able to live pulled up so we can go ahead and get in here and talk about different reverbs and delays. All right, cool beans. All right, so talking about different reverbs and delays, I'm gonna just pull up this article right here for you guys so you guys can see that, man. And this article is being pulled from eMaster blog or whatnot. I kind of saved this article right here just to kind of use this as a reference and just, you know what I'm saying, go over it with you guys or whatnot. So basically, you know, reverbs and delays are definitely different in their own perspective. Just speaking on reverbs or whatnot, it's just basically in layman's terms or whatever the case may be, and you can read that on the screen if you can see it and if you can read it or whatnot. It's basically what it is you're taking a signal and you're echoing it so fast where it's echoing so fast and there's a whole bunch of echoes that layer on top of each other, and you know, they're reflecting off of surfaces, and they're going so fast where you can't distinctively distinguish a echo, because the echoing is layering on layering and on layering on top of layer and on top of layer so fast that it will cause a reverberation in the sound. And that's what produces your term reverb. Okay. And there's different ways you can shape a reverb, and there's different types of reverbs. But more importantly, when it comes to reverbs, there are different nomenclatures for reverbs or whatnot. And I'm gonna just scroll down right here. You want to pay attention to the bold terms right here for as size. Size is basically going to be the type of reverb that you're using, or, you know what I'm saying, what you're utilizing as a reverb. So right now I'm in this studio space, and this studio space is probably like a 12 by 12 room. So that will be the size of the reverb in this particular room. Just to put that in a analogy or whatnot, you have other things like early reflection, attack, pre-delay. Pre-delay is really useful in utilizing reverbs, and it's basically the time between the original signal and the first reverberization. So you can actually adjust the pre-delay parameter on any type of reverb effect, pedal, hardware unit, or whatever the case may be. And, you know what I'm saying, you can hear that original signal come in based on the pre-delay. So you will hear you will hear the reverb sound first, and then you'll hear that original signal. So it's like a and stuff like that or whatnot. Bad example, but we'll hopefully we'll get to something that'll actually show you the pre-delay or whatnot. I have to kind of remember that or whatever the case may be. You also have this thing called decay. Decay is another big parameter that you'll use on reverbs as well. And you can set the reverb time. So if you need the reverb to be hella luscious and really big, you'll want that delay time to be, you know what I'm saying, 3 seconds or more. I've seen reverbs get all the way up to 11 seconds, and it just gives you a really big lush sound or whatnot, depending on your reverb size or space. That is important too. So it's based on your space, and then whatever that reverb time is in that space, you can adjust the decay, whether you want it short or larger. Just depends on the space again. Diffusion is basically kind of like reverb density. It allows you to basically create a thicker reverb by way of the reflections and how they merge with each other. So a higher diffusion, the more thicker the reverb is going to sound, or big, and the less of the diffusion, the more puny or thin sound it's going to sound or whatnot. And of course, you have a dry wet mix knob on a reverb. That way you can blend in how much reverb you want to hear with the original signal and everything like that. Now we're going to get to the fun part and talk about different types of reverbs, such as big category acoustic reverbs. And that is such as room reverb, you have chamber reverbs, you have hall reverbs, cathedral reverbs, and ambient reverbs. Those are acoustic reverbs. And those reverbs is basically how I explained it before. Acoustic reverbs, basically, it's based on the space that you're in. So right now we're in a 12 by 12 room with 10-foot ceilings. That is acoustic sound that we're playing a sound source out, and we are recording that sound that's being reflected inside of this room, and stuff like that. So that's what acoustic reverbs are. And we're going to go ahead and take a look and actually take a listen at different reverbs that I already have pulled up. So I got some plugins that I'm going to be utilizing as acoustic spaces. This first one I want to start on is, this is called the Purify Audio's the Panda Room, the Panda Rooms. So I guess Purify Audios have this studio called the Panda Studios, and they have all the different rooms, and they recorded the reverbs in these different rooms. And if you see on this plugin, you'll see like you have 10 different rooms, such as the live room, the control room where all the, you know what I'm saying, the toys are. You have the hallway, they you know what I'm saying, basically recorded and emulated and everything. The kitchen, bedroom, bathroom. Never seen a studio with a bedroom in it. That's interesting. Bathroom, you have ISO booth. You have the East Studio live room and control room, and then the hall warehouse. So we're gonna kind of like play around with this and just let you hear some of the common places where you would use reverb. So the live room, for example, I've seen a lot of studios utilize their live room in order to get that that reverb sound, because it's a big room, high ceilings, very dense walls and floors and stuff like that. So the instrument I'm gonna be utilizing in this test is the UVI workstation acoustic guitar, and I'm just gonna fiddle around in there so you guys can actually hear the reverb sound. So here's the sound right here. All right, that's the sound right there. Let's go ahead and turn this plugin on, and we're gonna listen to the West Live Room. Everything by default. I'm not gonna touch anything. Just want you guys to hear the sound. I'm gonna put it at about 20% on the dry wet mix knob, and we'll adjust it as such. All right, let's adjust it to about 50%. All right, cool. And you can hear as we go to, let's say 75%, right? About 80%, you'll definitely just hear more reverb. And some of these plugins, they're really unique because they utilize microphone emulations to kind of mimic, you know what I'm saying, what they're recording inside of the room. So let's just use this West room, for example, right? And what they had set up in there is 5 different mic types, you know what I'm saying, such as the U47, a ribbon mic. Let's see here, a large diaphragm condenser, a small diaphragm condenser, and a Louis style type of mic. So these different mic that's recording the sound back into what you probably is seeing like a recording console look right here. We can make adjustments on the level that's coming back in. So like on this U47 mic, we could turn that down. On the small diaphragm condenser, we could turn that down a little bit. Large diaphragm condenser, we could turn that down. The ribbon mic, we could turn up a little bit. And the Louis, we could turn up a little bit. Now check this out. All right, and then if we was to turn the Louis down and turn the ribbon mic down, different sound. And stuff like that, all right? And we'll play the East Live Room. We'll play the bathroom. Now you hear the difference in the bathroom. We'll play the kitchen. So different sounds. Let's just focus on one microphone, and we're gonna utilize the ribbon mic here, and let's play it again. And let's do the hallway. And let's do the ISO room. You can hear that the ISO room is a little bit more controlled environment because it's an isolated room, probably got some soundproofing in there, but it has a little bit of that slap echo in there or whatnot. And it doesn't sound big at all, but you have one microphone that's being recorded in there. So hear that ribbon mic again. And if you want to add a little bit more, turn up the U47. Now you hear that the sound is a little bit bigger because you're stacking more reverb on top of each other, and that's how you can kind of shape the reverb as needed. So that's room reverb right there. Basically, if you look at something and it says room reverb, just imagine different rooms being recorded. All right, cool. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that right there. And the next thing we'll pull up is a chamber reverb. Now this is coming from the UAD native plugin bundle, and this is the Hitsville set of plugins and whatnot as far as their reverbs is concerned. And they have some really good examples of how chamber reverbs really look. Now these chamber reverbs sat on top of 2 different studios that were owned by Motown. One is a chamber type reverb, and then the other chamber was at another studio. And these two chambers seemed like they were in the attic, so to speak. And whatever, I'm not exactly sure, they had to retrofit the attic for us with like concrete or some type of smooth surface to get that reflection, that chamber sound or whatnot. But when I'm switching in between the two studio chambers, you can see the actual graphic of the difference. All right. And of course they're utilizing the same microphones, which is a 545 dynamic cardioid microphone, which is another dynamic microphone. You have looks like we have a ribbon mic right here. And then right here, we have a, what they call let me see here, some type of, oh yeah, omnidirectional dynamic microphone. So a cardioid dynamic, and then you have a omnidirectional dynamic. And then right here, you have a multi-pattern condenser microphone. All right, so basically you got the three basic microphones: ribbon, dynamic, two different type of dynamics, and a condenser microphone or whatnot. And the other thing to point out is that you have different speakers. All right, now for the people that really don't understand how to mic a reverb or mic a sound in a room, in order to get a reverb, and you could do this at your own house. If you have a big house and you have a big living room with a 25-foot ceiling or whatever the case may be, all you got to do is take some really large speakers or really small speakers, depends on what you have. And then you could take those speakers and run your audio out of your interface, whatever you want to do. Just have the audio playing through the monitors. And then you can use one microphone, or you can use two microphones and record it in stereo. And when you play that sound out of the speakers, you're going to record that sound back into your interface and record it back into the DAW. And hopefully you don't cause any feedback, but it is definitely possible. And that's what they're doing right here. Now, remember, you probably have to run that back in like a bus track or a return track in order to get that sound. But make sure you just don't cause any weird feedback, but you got to do it right. Okay. But that's in a nutshell, that's how you basically do it. And they're showing you a perfect example of that. So what we're going to do is go to the first studio, which whatever street that the Hitsville studios are on, 2648. I guess that's the street number. And it says chamber 1. And let's start out with the BZK 800 speakers. Look like an Orotone type of speaker. And we're going to start out with this condenser microphone over here. And we're going to take it out of solo. So you can see this solo switch right here. I'm going to take it out of solo switch so we can control the dry wet mix knob. All right, so we're going to start at 0. You hear the acoustic guitar. Let's bring it up to 15%. That is beautiful right there. Sheesh. Whatnot. That's at 15% right there. Let's switch mics to the omnidirectional dynamic microphone. All right, and this is going to be the ribbon mic. And the cardioid, the dynamic cardioid microphone. All right, cool deal, man. So that sounds really, really good at 15%, man. 15% on the dry wet mix knob. That is crazy. Let's switch speakers right here. And I like that ribbon mic and how that sounded, and the condenser as well. So let me put it on that ribbon mic, because that ribbon mic kind of gave it a big sound. And we switched speakers, and now it's more on this weird looking tweeter type of speaker, or a big long horn. So if you're familiar with old PA systems and big speakers and everything like that, you had the low frequency driver, and then you had everything else that produces more of the high frequencies, and that was called a horn. So they have a really huge horn you can see in the left part of the screen in this plugin right here, and that is the horn. So let's see what kind of sound that will produce with a ribbon mic. All right, here we go. You can hear those high frequencies. That's beautiful, man. That is beautiful. Now, the other thing I didn't discuss is you can adjust the distance. So you see how we moving those microphones away from the tweeters. There's another one in the back. So they were kind of doing a stereo recording here. I didn't pay attention to the, okay, yeah. So the two Orotone-like type speakers, one is in this corner and one is in this corner right here. And you can see the spacing is almost the same. The distance is going to be where those microphones are. So you can see the distance, they're far away from the actual speaker itself. But when you move them closer, you can get this sound. Now, when you move them back, I'm quite sure you're going to get a bigger sound. You can hear the slight difference of it being farther away. Bring it back in. See how that's more direct? See how that sound is a little bit pushed back in the reverberization. So that's a really, really good example as far as the GUI on this plugin, where you can adjust the distance, and it makes you understand that mic placement is everything when you're recording. Even when you're recording reverb, mic placement is everything. So you have to kind of take that into account when you're setting up to record any type of sound source. Now let's test out the condenser microphone, and we'll move on to the next chamber. All right, so you can see here we got the distance all the way back, and you can see the two microphones here, one right here and the other one right here in the far right. Let's move that up closer, and you can see those microphones, and that door opens up. I'm assuming that's the way to get to the attic. We're going to bring it closer to those two speaker horns. Let's press back. Yeah, you can hear it. All right, cool. So that's pretty cool right there, man. And everything like that. Let's check out chamber 2. I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's doing the same thing. It's just a different space. Remember, acoustic reverbs, space. So it's just a different space. We're going to keep it on the condenser microphone. We got it on these little small speakers here, which has a lot of different small speakers. That's weird. I ain't never seen a speaker set up like that. That's some old school stuff that they had back in the 60s and the 70s when they was recording a good old Smokey Robinson and Aretha Franklin and all of them whatnot. So we want to keep the mix at 15% again. We're going to utilize those condenser microphones, and we got the distance right there in the middle. And the way they have this particular microphone angle, because of the speakers, they're actually recording the space behind the microphone stand versus recording the sound towards the speaker, which is very very interesting technique. I like that. Record the space reflecting behind the microphone stand, and you can see it right here. The cardio, the microphone diaphragm right here is facing, to the back side of the wall. All right, let's go ahead and play that. And you can, I can tell that this is recorded behind. Yeah, you could tell it's recording behind because of the low frequencies that the microphone is basically capturing if you was to put yourself in this recording situation right here. When you're recording something behind or catching those reflections behind the microphone or the source, you're definitely going to pick up low frequencies and whatnot. So really, really good technique right there. Let's go ahead and make an adjustment and hear the ribbon mics. Ooh, this is nasty. I like it though. It's just, it gives off that low frequency vibe or whatnot. So let's adjust the distance closer to the back wall and see what it happens. Proximity effect. So what we did was we adjusted the distance of the microphones back towards that back wall, and now you cut down on those low frequencies because you're picking up those reflections closer to the wall, and that's why you don't have all that muddiness like we did on the distance when we're closer, or should I say closer to the speaker or way back away from that back wall. So now that I moved the mic stands all the way closer to the speakers, you see that distance from that back wall right here. Watch all that low frequencies that's gonna build up and muddy up the sound. But that sounds actually pretty good. That actually right there, that technique right there actually sound like that Motown sound. Real far back, get those low frequencies and that reverb sound. Yeah, I can just imagine how that sound on vocals, man. That's really, really cool. Let's play with the other speaker set, and we're gonna keep the microphones back right there because I like that. That's almost close to that Motown sound. I like that, man. That's pretty dope right there. Let's move it back right there in the middle. All right, so it could be the ribbon mic that's causing that. Now watch when we put it on condenser. That muddiness. Now when we bring it closer to the speaker, the condenser microphones, which are lined up on top of each other, they're doing kind of like what they call I forget what they call it, but it's kind of like where the microphones, one is facing straight towards the camera, and then the other one is facing left and right of the camera, and you can see it very faintly right there, again producing those low tones. But when we move it closer to the wall, it brings out another type of frequency, more in that low mid range right there. So that's pretty cool. That is chamber reverbs in a nutshell, or whatnot. So just remember, chambers is just a different type of acoustical space. All right, let's talk about something that I'm gonna combine together, and that is halls and cathedrals. Okay, they can kind of work for the same type of reverb, but this particular plugin is from Eventide. It's called T-Verb. Again, Eventide T-Verb, and what you have is basically a hall area. So just imagine yourself, you know what I'm saying, going to some type of wedding event, and that's a hall, you know what I'm saying, big 3,000, 4,000 square foot space. That is considered a hall, you know what I'm saying. A lot of glass in that particular space, wood floors or tile floors with about a 15-foot ceiling or 20-foot ceiling. That is kind of considered a hall. And that has a bigger sound. So the bigger the space, the more microphones you're gonna need. Hence, this is what this plugin is kind of demonstrating right here. So in this graphic on top of that plugin, you have kind of like a mimic of the microphone is recording the sound in the room and then running it back into a console, and it give you kind of like a mixer console look on the GUI. The first mic is right here in the right here in the front. The second mic is somewhat in the middle, and then the third mic is all the way in the back. And you know what I'm saying, you can adjust the levels if need be, pan those as well to get that sound that you're looking for, whether it's a wide reverb or a narrow reverb or whatnot. So let's kind of play around with this. This kind of works almost the same as the Hitsville chamber reverb plugin, but this is basically focused on a hall type of reverb, okay, as far as acoustic reverbs are concerned. So let's play something real quick. You hear the room a little bit, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't sound so closed in like a chamber reverb. Hall reverbs has more of an openness on the reverb sound. So when we play it again, you hear that openness. You still hear the direct sound, but you're hearing those reflections way in the back. So that's what I like about. That's probably out of all the reverbs, hall reverbs are wonderful. They just sound good on anything that you put it on. All right, so let's play with the mic positions real quick. It's very self-explanatory. I'm gonna move that second mic, let's say over here, and they give you some sizes based on the emulation of that, what they did with this hall. This is about 26 feet to the left, and then the third microphone is about 57 feet to the right, you know what I'm saying, from the front to the back. All right, and then that first microphone is always going to stay front and center, closest to the source. All right, so let's play this sound now. It's going to sound totally different. So it sounds like you got more reverb, right? Now check this out. We're going to pan the second microphone right here that's on the left. We're going to pan that all the way hard left, and the third microphone, we're going to pan that hard right. Now let me see if you can hear the difference. All right, so you hear the sound gets a little bit wider. All right, now what we're going to do is turn the level down on the first microphone right here, and now you're going to hear more of the sound in the back, and we're going to see if you can hear the difference. All right, so what you're hearing now is basically you're turning down the microphone that's recording the source, aka if you had somebody recording an acoustic guitar, like when I'm playing, I'm in this room playing, I'm right up on top of this microphone 1, but I turned the sound down, and what you're hearing is mic 2 and 3, you know what I'm saying, about 50 feet or 25 feet back, okay? And then you can adjust the decay size. Over here, you can adjust the diffusion, do a little bit of high-low EQ or whatnot. We're not going to mess with EQ because that's really simple. You're going to basically attenuate or boost the highs and attenuate and boost the lows. But the decay is really what makes, you know what I'm saying, a reverb what it is. So right now, I haven't went over the decay, but this is a perfect example of the decay. Right now we're playing 2 seconds. Let me bring that mic 1 back up a little bit at about negative 6 dB. All right, and we're gonna play it again. Now this is the decay, 2 seconds. So once I play a note and I let off of it, you're gonna hear 2 seconds of reverberization. Check this out. Let's do that again. 1001. Okay, now let's increase that to its max, 7 seconds. You're gonna notice a drastic change. That is 7 seconds worth of reverberization. Let's count it off again. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi. That's about right. 7 seconds. So, yeah, that's how you count it right there. So that's pretty good. So if we was to play that, very lush. That's how you get an ambient sound. Too ambient. Now, what we could do is turn that up a little bit for us, the source mic. So when you turn that source mic up, you actually kind of like trying to mask the other two microphones so they don't sound so far away. All right, and we turn on the master. Of course, you're not going to hear anything. So on this plugin, you don't have a dry wet mix knob. What you do have is mic 1, mic 2, and mic 3. And when you make those adjustments, these are your dry wet mix knobs, but different sources. Dry white, that's your dry mic. Right there on top, that's your source mic. Then you mix in a little bit of mic 2, mix in a little bit of mic 3. Now you can hear more reverb on the right side. That's because we have mic 3 turned up more than mic 2. So I hope you get the understanding of the differences between dry wet mix or utilizing this style of recording, which is kind of like the old school way of, you know, creating reverbs in the studio space or whatnot, man. So that is pretty cool. That is a hall type of reverb, Eventide T-Verb. Make sure you go check that one out. Really cool. I actually like that. It's a sleeper reverb. I'm gonna have to use that a little bit more. Very, very good. Now this is gonna be a different right here. This is the hybrid reverb stock plugin in Ableton Live, and this is a convolution type of reverb. And convolution reverbs are basically recorded samples, and you can record basically a convolution IR or impulse response audio file, and you can basically kind of play that sound back, but you're utilizing your instrument source as, you know, saying the source, and then whatever is being recorded, it's utilized as a reverb. Honestly, I don't use a lot of convolution impulse responses because I feel like you're faking the reverb, so to speak. Even though it's a recorded sound space and you're mixing it in with the sound source, it still feels like it's fake. I'd rather use a plugin versus utilizing a convolution IR. But for the sake of this, you know what I'm saying, Cathedral Huge, I'm just going to show you what a cathedral sound like. And just to give you an idea of that particular space, just imagine you going to an old Catholic church that's been there for, I don't know, 80 years or 100 years. And it's got, you know what I'm saying, those 100-foot ceilings and everything like that. That's what a cathedral is or whatnot. So we're going to play this real quick just to hear the sound. So the decay size that they have it set on is at 11.2. Now this is a preset, all right? So it specifically is used to demonstrate what a cathedral or huge cathedral sound would sound like. So that space is reflecting for 11 seconds, all right? And you can adjust the dry wet mix knob to really get that sweet spot on that cathedral reverb sound. So right now we have the dry wet mix knob at about 25%. Beautiful. A little bit too much, and you can start hearing that reverb, those reflections just hit on top of each other, It goes back to the definition what we talked about, that reverb stack on top of each other, stack on top of each other, and stack on top of each other, and it can cause a good lush or a bad lush. That's a little bit too much for my fancy. Probably would never use something that huge or whatnot, unless we're doing something specific with that sound to get a creative vibe off of it. All right. So that's the cathedral type reverb. Another reverb that I want to go over is ambient reverbs. All right. So an ambient reverb is kind of like a slap back delay. It's really, really short, and you will find like these ambient reverbs on a lot of blues records, a lot of jazz records, that you just need to give it a little touch of reverb, but you don't want the actual decay size to be no more than a second or whatnot. And this is basically what an ambient reverb sound. It's almost like the slapback delay, but in reverb, if that makes any sense. So it's a very short room. I can probably compare an ambient reverb to like a closet. If you ever walked into a bedroom closet and you will record that reverb inside of a closet, basically that's what that is right here. So let's go ahead and put this all the way on dry, all the way on wet, just to hear the sound. All right, let's bring back in some of that dry signal. And you will hear that mostly, like, again, blues, R&B, you know what I'm saying, rhythm and soul, jazz, southern soul, you know what I'm saying, those type of music. So let me play like a little blues lick real quick. You see what I'm saying? So ambient reverbs are definitely used on blues licks and stuff like that. Very, very useful. So that's probably a common use case with ambient reverbs. Not going to spend too much on that. Let me talk about inverse or reverse reverb. Reverse reverbs are really, really weird. I haven't really seen the use case for those, but a lot of people use reverse reverbs for creative purposes or whatnot. You're not going to really see too much talk about with a inverse or a reverse reverb or whatnot, but I'll just play an example for you guys. You hear that reverse? Very creative. I mean, that's a vibe. That is the vibe, you know what I'm saying? So it just kind of creates a different type of vibe, but you're reversing the dry signal and having that to be reverber. You're having that to be effective for the reverberization. All right, let's adjust the dry wet mix knob down and check this out. See how it's a different vibe? And you really don't hear that reverb. Now let's bring it back to the middle a little bit. You hear more of the reverse, right? I'm trying to slow those notes down so you can actually hear the reverse. And basically that's an inverse or reverse reverb right there. And the reverbs that I'm using in here, and I was going to use this convo room, which is a convolution impulse response type of reverb. And you know what I'm saying, you have all these different recorded spaces right there, but that's not a void right now. But these reverbs are utilized through IK Multimedia Mixbox 500 series channel strip. Really, really good plugin, man. I love this plugin right here because you get so much. You get amps, channel strips, delays, distortion, dynamics as far as compression is concerned, EQ, filter, modulation, reverbs, and saturation. All those plugins you get all in one little box right there. Definitely worth the investment on that. AKA, or should I say FYI, what I'm talking about, AKA what? Mixbox or whatnot. All right, cool, man. The last one I kind of want to go over is spring reverb. Now, spring reverbs are going to kind of fall into a different type of category here. All right, and let me see if I can pull that up for you guys. All right, so spring reverb is going to be, and I think I got a little ahead of myself. I haven't got to the plates yet either, doggone it. But spring reverbs and plate reverbs are mechanical reverbs, which is basically produced as a recreated effect of a necessary room or reflective space or whatnot. So basically the sound or the sound wave will utilize a particular reflection to recreate a reverb sound, aka the plate reverb, which I love as well, my second best, and also a spring reverb, which is kind of like this wire that's kind of like look like a coil. And when that sound reverb or when that waveform comes in, it kind of makes that plate moves like this, or that coil make a type of, I don't know, vibe or vibration, and that vibration is recorded and it's making that reverb sound. So what we got here is a plate. All right, this is from the UADX or native plugin. It's called Pure Plate Reverb, and we're gonna go ahead and turn this on and let you guys hear this. So this is a true plate reverb based on thin sheets of metal that you're driving waveforms or a sound wave through there to make that plate vibrate. All right, so let's play something here. So plate reverbs are definitely have like a dark undertone to it. All right, so that is a somewhat of a wet tone right there. You have a low cut on here. You have a pre-delay sound. So, oh, we got it on wet solo. Let's take that off. Now let's adjust the pre-delay. So you hit a dry signal, then you hit a reverb. So if you're trying to get like a big reverb sound, but you don't want to hear the reverb on top of your dry signal, you can push that pre-delay, and that's what that basically means right there. You got a low cut right here, and you can adjust your reverb time. So you can adjust the plate and everything like that. You can see it in that graphic where the reverb time is short. Adjust it again to get different type of vibrations on that sheet metal. Okay, so so whatever the adjustment that you make on that sheet metal is going to give you that lush reverb sound or whatnot. Of course, you got a 2-band EQ right here based on treble, and of course you got a dry wet mix knob. I like what UAD is doing. It gives you the option to keep the wet solo on or keep it locked in at 100%. That way, if you have it on a return track, you don't have to necessarily make the mistake of, you know, moving your mouse cursor and you having, let's say 50-50 reverb and dry signal. So that's a good feature right there to have. And you can have the option to turn that on and off. So that basically is a plate reverb. That's wet solo on. And you hear how lush that can get as well. It's not a room, it's actual sheet metal, which make a plate of reverb. So it's basically a thin sheet of metal, man, or whatnot. Let me pull up I don't have a good representation of a spring reverb besides like a plug-in or a guitar pedal. But let me see if I can pull that up here for you guys. Let's see here. And we're going to utilize QASA or QASA amplification 360. And we're going to go ahead and pull up a spring reverb here. All right. And you're going to hear kind of like a wobble type of situation versus that lush sound with the plate. This is going to be more of a wobble. So let's turn down the wet knob. All right, dry sound. Now let's mix that in a little bit. You hear that wobble? Let's bring it up a little bit more. As we push more sound, you hear the reverb wobble a little bit. Right there. You hear that wobble? That's the spring that you're hearing or whatnot. So we got it at about you could say about a good 30-40%. And you'll hear a lot of spring reverbs on guitars, especially electric guitars. And you'll get a nice big reverb, but it's a short time. It's really, really, really unique because it'll vibrate so with a lot of magnitude. It'll vibrate with a lot of vibe, but it's a very short time. So if you don't catch it, it ain't gonna give you a lot. It's not so long as like a plate or a hall. You hear how big it is, but when you let off the release, it cuts off and it has a very short release time. It doesn't latch on to the sound. Stop. Hey. See what I'm saying? 1,000. You see what I'm saying? 1 Mississippi. It's like less than a second. You know what I'm saying? So that's really, really cool. Another reverb that I failed to mention that's very, very different is a shimmer reverb. All right. Now I went over a reverb or reverse reverb, so we good on that. The only thing I need to go over is a shimmer reverb. Now, shimmer reverb is basically it's kind of like multiple pitch shifters that is meshed or kind of merged with reverberization, and with those pitch shifters can cause a real bright metallic type of sound. You can shift. It depends on the plug-in, or it depends on the guitar pedal or whatever hardware effect that you're utilizing. It'll give you different options to shift that pitch up or down, or different octaves to create different type of higher frequencies. So I'm gonna give you a prime example. Right here on this plug-in, same plug-in, amplification 360. You got a shimmer reverb here. I'm gonna bring down the dry wet mix knob, and you're gonna hear that metallic sound. Check it out. You hear that? It's almost like space in the clouds, galaxy type of sound. But on this particular plugin, you can't make a change to the shimmer. Is whatever you get, that's what you get. Hey. And that's the shimmer right there. Now I'm gonna show you guys. I don't have it hooked up, but I'm gonna show you guys a guitar pedal that has a really, really lush shimmer reverb sound to it. And you can kind of make a adjustment to the rate of the shimmer, and it's this right here from I think this is from doggone Keeley Electronics, and it's called Caverns version 2. This is a really good reverb plugin and a delayed combo type plugin. And there's a little switch on here where you can switch it from a spring reverb. So you can get a spring reverb, a modulated reverb, which is really cool. I don't have an example of a modulated reverb, but it's kind of like a reverb that has a chorus effect mixed in with it, or some type of phaser type of effect mixed in with the reverb. So it has modulated reverb, spring reverb, and then you have shimmer. So you get 3 reverb types in one pedal, and then over here you get 2 different type of delay types here. And these knobs just kind of give you different flavors. You can adjust the rate, the warmth, the decay time, and everything like that. But this is a really, really good plug-in if you want to get some of that good ambient tone. Caverns 2 from Keeley Electronics. But what I'm gonna show you is actually on a multi-effect pedal that I have over here. And let me get that picture pulled up for you guys. And we're gonna go let's go ahead and do this real quick. We're gonna go ahead and turn off all these other effects here, and I want to show you guys the shimmer reverb. All right, so you can see right here on the big screen, this is a shimmer reverb, the NUX MG MG400 multi-effect pedal has a really good shimmer reverb, and it's a really good example of you can make an adjustment to how much excuse me, how much shimmer that you want to hear versus with the Keeley Electronics Cavern 2, and I'm gonna hit the thing on accident. On the Keeley Caverns 2, you can make an adjustment to the rate. Okay, the rate and how much is totally different. The rate is gonna be like how much of effect that you're getting for us, like the timing of that particular pitch shifting and everything, versus with the NUX MG400 over here on the big screen, it's just the amount. So let's say, for instance, you got the shimmer all the way down and you got a nice little decay there, and you play the sound. And let's go ahead and turn on the external audio effect here. All right, cool. So we got a little sound coming out through our patch bay and our interface. All right, so we're playing this right here. Let me make an adjustment. Let's turn down that right there. Turn it up a little bit more. So that is our reverb, right? Now, let's say you wanted to add a little bit of shimmer to what you dialed in for us, the mix and the decay. We're going to add a little bit of shimmer in there. Now, check this out. You hear that shimmer, and the longest I hold that note, you hear that shimmer. As soon as I let off of it, it goes away. All right, let's say you want to add a little bit more. We're just turning up the shimmer effect, okay? So we can't adjust the pitch. And that's what, you know what I'm saying, by definition, shimmer, you can kind of make adjustments to the pitch. But of course, what I have for as a plug-in, I don't think I have a plug-in that you can adjust that shimmer, but I'm quite sure there's some stuff like the Eventide H900. I'm quite sure there's something in there where you can adjust the pitch to the shimmer, but whatnot. But here on this particular guitar pedal effect, you can only make adjustments to the amount of shimmer, but whatever pitch that they have set, that's what it is. And the same thing with the other plugin, you know what I'm saying, as well. Whatever you get is just a set amount on that plugin that I showed you with the shimmer. And of course, the Keeley's Cavern 2, you can make adjustment to the rate, or it's really weird. It seems like you're turning it up a little bit, but it's actually the rate of the shimmer or whatnot, whatever case may be. So that is the shimmer reverb, and that is our last example of reverb. We're gonna go ahead and move along and talk about delays. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about delays there, folks. So let's pull up our reference sheet here and talk about delays. Now, delays are a little different than reverbs, okay? Delays are basically time-based audio effects. And so basically, to get more of the effect, you have to adjust the time to get that effect, or basically the echo. So it's like, hey, hey, hey. But if you want to make it faster, you'd be like, hey, 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 ho, 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 ho. Or you can adjust it down and be like, hey, hey, ho, ho, and stuff like that. So that's basically delays. Common nomenclature of delays is basically, and with delays, with that echo for the timing, you can also make it feedback to give it more echo and give it more time to just keep on repeating itself. That's what feedback is, the amount of time to repeat itself. So hey, 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 and you just hear it fade off in the distance. So that's what feedback is. But the time is basically referring to the time it takes for that effect to kick in, and the time between each reflection to carry out or whatnot. So this doesn't have to do in any surface or whatnot. It's just basically the time of the the effect to kick in and to basically carry out between the different intervals of the sound or whatnot. Syncing is basically syncing it to the BPM of your particular project. Feedback is basically defined as the duration of reflections after one original note, okay, or an original note, all right. And then low high cut, you can adjust the tonage of the delay by having that echo effect be cut off on the lows or cut off on the high frequencies. And of course, you got a dry wet mix now that you'll be adjusting. And width, yes, you can actually adjust the width a little bit and have those delays not so close to the center. You can, on certain devices, you can make it a little bit wider as well. Now, common delays that you have is slapback delay, doubling delay, tape delay, looping delay, and modulated delays. For us, it just depends on the device. It'll come with that chorus, flanger, or phaser type of effect built in with the delay as well, man. And you can use this to, you know what I'm saying, give a vibe based on the tempo of your song. You can also use this as a panning type of effect to fill in different empty spaces or subtly add a little bit of excitement to a sound or experimental use cases as well, man. So let's go over some different delay types here. We're going to go ahead and move this instrument on to the third track here. All right, so now that we move this on to the third track, we're going to talk about a delay that wasn't on there, and it did talk about it for us, you know what I'm saying, how you can affect the delay. And this is the filter delay. All right, so this is the Ableton Live stock plugin. I like this filter delay that they have in here because it gives you 3 different types of filtering or filtering styles that you can utilize on the delay to get, you know what I'm saying, a certain sound that you're trying to do and stuff like that. So you can adjust the left side of the signal. You can adjust the left and the right summed signal, and then you can adjust the right side, or you can pick and choose by turning one of those off and just focus on the stereo signal, or just focus on delaying the left side or the right side. You know what I'm saying? However it tickles your fancy. So let's kind of like, let's choose one of the presets here. All right, so we're going to turn on one of these presets, and now we're going to play something here just so you can hear the filter delay. All right, that's kind of crazy, right? That's really weird. Now, adjust the dry wet mix it out. Oh, I'm sorry. There's no dry wet mix knob. You have to adjust the volume. I'm sorry about that. So let's turn down this one, and let's turn down the right side, and then turn down the stereo. You see how you can get creative with that, and you can just add and fill in the space. Man, delays are really, really fun to play with. They can be an annoyance because you got to time it with your project. But once you understand the timing and how to adjust that timing, delays are really, really fun to utilize. And to be honest with you, you can utilize the delay. I would reach for a delay first than reaching out to a reverb, because the reverb is already going to give you what you're looking for. The delay, you have to work for that effect. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't like working with delays. Not too much, at least. Whatnot, man. So that is a filter delay right there. All right, the next delay I'm going to pull up is this one from D16, and it's called Repeater. It's basically kind of like a vintage modeled type of delay, and you get different type of delay models. You get like a digital type of delay. You get kind of like a vintage style type delay, cassette type delays, plexi echoes, space delays, tape delays for sure, and you know, saying telephone type of effect. So it just gives you different types of different delays that you can utilize itself. And we could choose the different delay modes, or we can go to the presets and choose something here. Now, what I have this, and why I have this plugin, is to give you an example of what a basically kind of like a I don't know, kind of like a let me see here, a slapback delay would sound like. All right, So let's choose the 90s rap main vocal. All right, and that's gonna be a preset. And what they're utilizing is a digital delay, which can give you that good slapback type sound. Now, what I'm gonna do is go into the UVI and change the guitar here, and I'm gonna put it on more of a Stratocaster type of guitar, because I think the acoustic, we kind of worn out on that sound right there. So what it's doing is loading up this Stratocaster guitar. And once that load up, we're going to go and let's go ahead and bypass this plugin real quick so you can hear the Stratocaster. Oh, let me make a setting real quick. All right, let's put it in solo mode. And what we're going to do is turn off the reverb because we don't need that. We can turn off the tube saturation. Actually, let's keep the tube saturation on. All right, cool. So that is the sound right there. And let's go ahead and get out of the effects section. All right, and let's go ahead and turn this plugin on, and you're gonna hear the reverb sound. And we have a dry wet mix. Let's go ahead and turn that down a little bit, and you can hear the sound blended in with a little bit of reverb. You hear that slap back? So that's kind of like giving you that rock feel, that hard rock or blues. So let me give you an example. You see what I'm saying? You get kind of like that Americana or that American hard rock type of sound with that slapback delay. You can increase it a little bit. Okay, and that's really slapback delay. Now let's play it in more of a blues type of sound. You see what I'm saying? That old blues, Bobby Blue Bland, BB King type of sound. That is a slapback delay right there, man. So you can get all kind of different flavors of delays in there and kind of play around with this. It's very straightforward, not too hard at all. You adjust the delay time right here, the feedback, and then you can adjust the high pass and the low pass filter. Of course, a tone knob for as color, left and right, and mix knob. It's super simple, man. But you can get some really good delay sounds out of there. That's the D16 repeater. You can really get some good slapback delays out of that right there. The next delay I wanted to go over and show you guys is just basically a delay. It's a digital delay type of guitar pedal. All right, cool deal. And with this one right here, I kind of want to give you guys an example of modulated delays. Now I'm gonna utilize this as a guitar pedal type of situation because I don't think I have a delay that has built in, and I probably do. I just didn't feel like going through all these plugins trying to find it. So I'm gonna show it to you as if we was put together a guitar pedal. Excuse me, not a guitar pedal, a pedal board for a guitar or whatnot. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is let's look for a let's get a phaser effect here, another pedal. All right, so we got a little phaser type of effect here. All right, so I'm gonna turn the delay off, right? You hear that phaser effect, right? Let's attenuate that a little bit. So that's the phaser effect. That's the phaser effect. Now, when we turn on the delay, I want you to notice. I'm gonna tap the time in. You hear that? So that's the delay. The repeat is the feedback. The stereo is kind of like a ping pong type of situation, and the effect is a dry wet mix. Now let's play it all together. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So you can create all kind of different, you know what I'm saying, riffs with that, or different type of melodies with that. Now that was a phaser. Let's go ahead and swap that out and put a chorus in here. All right. So, or we can utilize all three of them at the same time, but we're going to go ahead and tap that off, and let's just get a chorus effect in here. Let me load up something here. Let me see if it got a preset. Nope. No preset. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of play that. So that's the chorus effect right there. Shout out to THU. Now let's blend that with the delay. So that's the chorus and delay. See what I'm saying? A really, really good vibe right there. Now let's blend the phaser in, and you got yourself a nice modulated delay type of tone or effect. Pretty cool, right? So that's kind of like a good example of modulated delay right there. Let's see here. We got a good example of a tape echo or tape delay type effect. And this is a really, really good example of you know what I'm saying, a tape delay type of echo. This is derived from a old Roland delay that used to be back in the Gap. I forget the model name. Don't shoot me in the foot for that. But it used to be an old Roland device, but it gave off a good tape head type of delay and everything like that. And what we're gonna do is just kind of choose some different examples. So let's go with something more wide here, and let's see. Let's choose a tape slap the face. Let's choose this one and see what happens. So that's really gonna give you that tape delay style. It's kind of like an analogish situation, and tape delay, it has its own unique craft in how to get that. But this is a good recreation of tape delay, which is the Galaxy Tape Echo from UAD, which mimics one of those old Roland devices, delay devices and whatnot, because I forget the actual model name, whatever the case may be. I know it's made by Roland though. I know somebody in the comments gonna come rip me a new one. I already know it. I already know it. All right, so let's go with a tempo synced type of situation, and just choose this one right here. And then you could choose, you know, different type of tape heads that you want to use, and different tape heads at different times. Just that right here. And this thing can also it also can create some reverb for you as well. But we're gonna turn on the reverb sound. See what I'm saying? So that is a tape delay, and then this has a little reverb unit on there that you can blend the two in. So that's another situation where you can utilize reverb and delay all in one unit if that plugin or that hardware unit has the ability to do so, which this one has the ability to do so. So you're hearing that reverb, kind of like a tape reverb type of situation. More, I don't know, to me, it's more of a, I say more of a kind of like a plate type of delay. Excuse me, a plate type of reverb. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to another preset here. Oh, that's a good example. Now you hear the reverb. Let's turn it down. You hear head 3, you hear the delay on the 1/8. Now, if we wanted to hear the same thing, we can't choose anything because we have to kind of like find where that tape head is going to be on both sides. Boom, here we go. And let's say, for instance, we wanted to, let's say, can we make a, yeah, we're going to make an adjustment here. The echo rate. And then you can adjust the temp echo pan. So if you want to hear more of this delay right here on tape head, you just pan it to the left or pan it to the right. If you want to hear the 1/16 delay, pan it to the right. More of that 1/64 dotted delay, pan it more to the left. Or blend the two, keep the echo pan in the middle. And then even blues. You see what I'm saying? So that's really cool right there, man. So that's a little bit of everything. I mean, you get a combo. That's why I really like utilizing this. Especially with reverbs, because you get that tape delay. It's like an analog delay. You get reverb, and you get a little bit of all kind of type of delay. So this is a really, really good one from UAD Galaxy Tape Echo. Now there's other companies that make something like this. I know IK Multimedia has a replica of this. I want to say doggone Cherry Audio has a replica like this, and there's another company has a Arturia has a replica of the same type of plugin. So make sure you go check out those brands: Cherry Audio, IK Multimedia, and Arturia. They have replicas if you don't have the access to get the UAD version as well, man. And last not but least, man, I'm gonna show you kind of like a generic type of delays or whatnot. And this plugin is called from Brainworks. It's BX Delay 2500, and it basically, I just wanted to see the layout of this particular delay. They basically focus on time for us, the left and the right, feedback, pan. You get a filter in there, and then you get some modulation for us, an auto wall. And then you can also do transient shaping in here, tap tempo on both left and right sides of the signal, adjust the level, and then the dry wave mix knob on both sides of the left and the right signal. That is the top. And then right here, you get ducking. Now, ducking is a really, really good function on a delay because it allows the signal to basically be superior, and that dry signal right there, if I was to play that, let's bring that dry wave mix down a little bit. Okay, hold on 1 second, y'all. And that's the timing. Now, when we turn on ducking, you'll see I turned on ducking. When I increase the amount on the ducking, it's going to keep that dry signal, but it's still going to duck that sound, that delayed sound down. The affected sound is going to keep it kind of like a side chaining effect, but it's ducking the delayed signal. And when you let up off of the dry sound, if you have a long feedback, it's definitely going to bring that feedback back in. So that's basically ducking. It's almost like a side chain feature, built-in feature, which is really, really good. You have some modulation in here for us blending in flanger and chorus. I kind of gave you an example of that with the guitar pedals, but they have that feature kind of built in, but it's only one side, and you can only either use flanger or chorus, no phaser. Right. And you can also add distortion to your delay signal, and of course you can work and widen the sound via mid-side control and everything like that. So a lot of delays come in a dime a dozen. A lot of delays look weird. They have their own features, feature set. They have their own characteristic. They have their own workflow. So however you find a delay and it fits your workflow, by all means utilize it, because at the end of the day, the delay and the signal that's being passed through it is being affected by tone, it's being affected by time, and it's being manipulated all different type of ways, but it's going to achieve the same result, and that is that that particular sound is being echoed at a certain time, and how much is going to be repeated far as the feedback is concerned. So any delay that matches your workflow and it makes it make sense to you, by all means use that. And the same thing is reverbs. Reverbs come in a dime a dozen. There's a lot of reverbs out there that you can utilize. Don't sleep on your stock plugins. If you have a stock plugin, of course you should have a stock plugin because you're utilizing a DAW. By all means, experiment with your stock plugins. Once you get to a point where you kind of understand what the delay or the reverb or both are doing with your stock plugins, then I would say move on to your third-party plugins. And once you master certain third-party plugins, then start looking into hardware devices. Like I said, man, the best thing to start with is guitar pedals, far as hardware devices, because what you don't want to do is go spend $200, $300, $400 on a rack mounted effect unit and you don't know how to utilize it, or you don't understand reverbs and delays quite yet. Get you some guitar pedals, cheap on Amazon, $40. Well, of course, this one right here is a little bit expensive. This is like a $200, or close to a $200 pedal, but it gives you that shoegazing, that ambient type of sound, or that lo-fi type of sound that you crave. This to do it, you know what I'm saying? And it's just based on how it's built. But if you're looking for something cheap just to kind of get your chops wet and to put your hands on actual reverb or delay, this is a real good start from Soundscapes Levitate. And this is like a $55 pedal that you can get off of Amazon. It has a reverb on the left side of the screen. That is a reverb, and basically you're just adjusting the dry wet mix knob and the decay time. And then on the right hand side, you have the delay side, which is giving you your dry signal, and you can blend that dry signal, turn it up or down, and then blend in the wet or the delayed effect signal in there as well for as the wet. And then you got some really easy parameters, feedback and the timing of the delay. And once you master this style of delay, then you can move on to more complex type of delays, and it has to make sense. But folks, you're not gonna master reverbs or delays just by saying I'm gonna get something and make it work, or whatever the case may be. You have to kind of practice with it, and you have to understand the timing and everything like that. And everything with the timing, whether it's a reverb or delay, is based on your project BPM. So it's always important to understand that. Now, there's a calculated formula that you can find out your delays, but I'm not going to get into that. You can research that on your own. There's actually a formula to find delays based on your BPM in your project. But I would probably look for delays that has a sync type of button, and it's going to be found more in a plugin versus the hardware. With the hardware, you really got to use your ears and match the timing of your project. So, you know what I'm saying, that again, you have to kind of like train yourself to understand delays, number one, and then learn how to listen to the timing of your session or whatever you're doing for as your performance is concerned. Reverbs are really, really easy, man. You just turn those on, adjust the how much reverb you want, and get that right blend, and you're good to go. But delays are definitely is the one effect that a lot of people have difficult trying to get that timing in. And if you dial it in wrong without a sync button, like a hardware unit, it's definitely going to show up. So you're going to be like, nah, I just rather use a reverb and not a delay. But those delays, man, they're really more effective than a reverb, just the FYI, man. So we're going to go ahead and get up out of here, man. And, you know what I'm saying, hopefully this video serves you purpose very well as far as understanding what reverbs and delays are, how they sound, and the use case of them by way of the example that I use with the guitars. And I hope this help you understand and give you a little bit more confidence on using reverbs and delays. And, you know what I'm saying, again, this has been your boy, Super Mario, man. If you like this video, go ahead and hit a like on this video, or drop a subscription to this channel right here. Whatever case may be, man. And like I said, man, I appreciate everyone tuning in, checking out the videos, viewing, commenting, or even just popping in for a couple of seconds. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know, whatever you do, it helps the algorithm, and it helps you, man, to find some good content, man. This has been your boy, Super Mario, man. We're going to go ahead and get up out of here. And our next video, it's going to be ambient sound. So we may pull out one of these guitar pedals, make some ambient sounds, and we'll be back on the groove of things as far as production, man. Again, you know what I'm saying, catch you on the flip side, man. Beatober 2023 reverb and delay discussion. We'll be moving on to the next, man. Until next time, we out.